Alright guys, we're going to shift gears a little bit. From here on out, I'm going to have you make some presentations for the class and upload them. Very similar to the one that you did for your secret project. But this one will be specific chapters in the book, in the green book. So this is first come, first serve. I have chosen chapter 20 because that's my prerogative. You get to pick what you want, so look through these remaining chapters, which you can see are all about sort of body systems and functioning, things that not necessarily a respiratory therapist needs or would generally find overtly useful. So it's the perfect place to start. I mean, if people don't learn anything, we're none the worse off. So you can choose how you do the presentation. Anything you want to do. You can do a video, you can do PowerPoints with the voiceovers like I've been doing. It's completely up to you. Just keep them to the 20-25 minute window and that will be great. If you think you're going to need longer, just give me a buzz and let me know. As you present these, make sure you use a lot of pictures and make your topic easy to follow. Have it flow in a logical order. Like foods that you could use to treat iron deficiencies. Here's some more. Beef. Then you can add a few tables. For example, if you have a child with asthmatic symptoms, this is how you classify them. Here is a chart to talk about the treatment approaches to asthma. Oh look, this girl is using an inhaler. So once you figure out what chapter you want, first come, first serve, like I said earlier, just send me a message telling me what chapter you want, and then you'll have different due dates. I'll only have the class watch a few each week, and we'll spread them out throughout the remaining part of the week. Part of the semester. So don't think that I'm going to go in order. Don't rely on the fact that you're choosing the last chapter in the book, and therefore you will go last. It will be random order draw. As you present, make sure that your production value is relatively decent. We need to be able to understand you. We need to be able to clearly see what you're trying to show us. You will be graded on production value. I will post a rubric for you so that you'll have an idea of what I'm looking at. But I'll be looking to make sure that you don't have any typos. Again, that your information is accurate and easy to follow, and that your production value is reasonable. So if it's really rotten, don't expect a high score in that category. Look, cholesterol risk assessment. Aren't you glad you're listening to this? Because the fact is, if you weren't actually listening to this right now, then when it came time to take the test, you would get all of the answers wrong. This child's having his temperature taken. I'm going to be completely sneaky here. If you listen to this, you'll get the right answer on the test question. If you don't listen to this, well, I guess you'll know what happens. Anyway, here's the question I'm going to ask for this chapter on the test. The question will be, where is the eustachian tube? The correct answer will be in the city park. That's because that's where I'm sitting right now as I record this. In the city park. Don't capitalize it. No punctuation marks are necessary, just lowercase. Just put in the park. Those 3 words, in the park. So I will make it a short answer, fill in the blank question, in the park. Here's the table with classifications for childhood seizures, and this sounds like a really good place to find a test question. I think if I were going to ask a test question about this chart, I would probably ask you something about, probably the Sylvian seizures, because that makes me think of you, Sylvia. Hope that got a big smile out of you. And I would probably ask you about the EEG findings, for example. I couldn't possibly ask you everything on this table, so that seems like as good a place as any to get a test question. Here are some types of seizures and how you would treat them. Look, this kid has tonsillitis. I got a case of tonsillitis like this once. Only, I think it was even worse than this. My tonsils were completely white. I got it at clinical. I got it about 6 weeks before graduation. And back then, where I went to school, you didn't miss any clinical or you didn't graduate. You were allowed to miss, I think it was 3 days of clinical throughout your entire program. And if you missed a day, your letter grade dropped automatically. So here I was almost done with school 6 weeks before school was out, and I had to miss a couple of days because my tonsils were huge. It was hard to swallow. I was scraping exudate off my tonsils. If you look in this picture, you'll see the white exudate on his tonsils. I was scraping that off with a tongue depressor, staying at the hospital, which I'm sure is where I got it in the first place. Oh, treatment for diarrhea. It's just fluid. Major characteristics of acute diarrhea. Yuck. Some more. How many characteristics can there possibly be? Actually, this is why we have a big problem with Ebola right now, because it causes, among other things, really bad fluid loss, and it would be easy to treat if they had access to IV fluids, as Doug will attest. It's pretty sad state of affairs. Degrees of dehydration. These people who are dying, they would fall under the severely dehydrated category. This is probably a good place to get a test question too. Maybe a matching. Here are important physical aspects in regards to diarrhea. Here is a great chart of croup symptoms. It's too bad one of you guys didn't have this when you were in your associate program. Wouldn't it have been handy? This is a beautiful table. Again, here is another table that I bet you wished you had in the past. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? You can make up your own tables for your presentation too. Indicators for degrees of respiratory distress. This is the kind of stuff that I don't usually have you remember on a table, because I think learning it is more effective, and being able to make your own value choices here. But if you were to have gone through the EMS program, then they would have made you memorize this, and there wouldn't have been any variables, no variation. Somebody couldn't be in the middle between 2 degrees of respiratory distress, like we know happen all the time. More indicators. Lab tests. The RSV wash. Nice. Here's yet another table that's really beautiful to look at, and probably pretty useful. From here, I am finished with what I wanted to show you. But if you'll notice, you are now only at about the 8-minute mark. And if I had really gone through this, assuming you didn't know anything about the respiratory system, then this certainly would have taken me much longer, as the other presentations I've given you have, the other lectures. So, in an effort to make this look longer than it really is, I am going to let it keep recording. But I'm finished talking, so when I say you can stop listening, then you can stop listening. You can go ahead and turn it off. I promise there will be no new information after that point, and I'll just let it run to, in fact, just make it look longer. It's just because I want to. Okay, so I'm finished. You can turn it off now, and make sure you send me the email with the information on which chapter you would like. First come, first serve. So just send me a little message saying I want chapter whatever, and hopefully you'll get the one you ask for. All right. Bye, guys. The banging is just me cleaning up.